What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about something really interesting that I've been getting into lately, and that is the sinking minnow. Now, this is something that is super underutilized in bass fishing because they're designed for trout fishing. And more specifically, the baits that I'm going to be talking about today are baits that are designed for Japanese style bait finesse trout fishing. So even more kind of off the beaten path of US bass fishing. But I've been getting into BFS as of late, probably the last year or so, probably a year and a half now. And if you've been watching my short videos, you know that I use my BFS combo for small trout in mountain streams. I use my BFS combo out on lakes in 20, 30 foot of water for bass. It has become just another tool in my toolbox. And a lot of these baits that are primarily for trout have kind of become my secret weapon on those really tough days for bass. And let me kind of explain. So right now here I have this is a duo Ryuki, a Spearhead Ryuki. This is the 46S. It's completely silent because the entire body is basically lead. The entire body is weight. Okay, and you can even see on there I have little single hooks because I was just using this for trout not too long ago. And then the other baits I want to talk about are newer to me, and these are the Megabass Bat fries, and these come in two sizes. So I have the Battlefry, this is the 42, I believe, and then I think this is the 52, or maybe 44, 52. Either way, you've got a larger size and a smaller size. They're both very heavy, and they're both not completely silent, but they have a little knocker inside because, again, most of the body is just going to be weight. Okay, so the reason for these, the reason that these baits were even designed in the first place are for heavy current streams where light little crankbaits, they flush out, they turn over, they don't stay down in the current as much. So most of the weight is going to be in the bottom. And that is so when you're retrieving it, as you're flicking it in the streams, it's going to stay along the bottom, even in heavy current, so you can pick off those trout. And that has worked amazing for me, especially with this guy right here for brown trout, brook trout, and some rainbows up in North Carolina. But I was tempted as I came back to Florida to see what can these things do in my Florida lakes, ponds, etc. Because these are completely foreign to any of the baits that fishermen are using down here, including myself. And you'd be quite surprised. I found something out this last summer, okay, with these two baits. These are the duo. This is the 46S. This is the 38S, a little bit smaller version. I found that on those days when it is 90, 95 degrees, absolutely miserable out, and those bass will not eat a chatterbait. They will not eat a fluke. They might eat a Senko, but they are just so beaten down by the sun. You pull out this little Ryuki 38S, literally the smallest bait I've ever used in my entire life. You pull out this little guy, 5-pound braid, 6-pound braid to a 3-pound or 5-pound leader, you will get those 2, 3, and even 4-pound bass. We're coming up to crush this thing in these small little retention ponds. It was unbelievable. It's almost as if they have never seen something this size that was not the real thing. They were coming for it like it was absolutely real. There's no question in their minds. So this bait right here holds a special place in my arsenal for those extremely difficult days when I know that they don't want anything. I know that if I throw this, I will get some sort of attention. Now, the reason I don't use this all the time is that it is a little bit light. This is the smaller version. This is the 38S. It's a little bit trickier to cast. So on a windy day out of my kayak, it's not going to do the trick. This is more of a pond guy for me. Pond, still water. Awesome little bait. And then this bait, I mean, this is just the star of the show, to be honest with you, in both the mountain streams, North Carolina, and also in my lakes here in Florida. This is, again, the Ryuki 46S. It's perfect. It's about 5 grams. Great for my ultralight BFS setup. But it is still very, very small, as you can see. I mean, this thing is, I believe it's under 2 inches. The reason this is my go-to is in the mountain streams, this thing gets deep and it stays really deep. You can almost work it like a little lipless crankbait kind of off the bottom, just vibrating it, or you can just crank it and just bang it off rocks. I don't know if you guys can see, but that lip is just absolutely mutilated. The paint scheme's mutilated. I mean, this bait has caught basically every single trout that I have caught in the past year and a half that I've even started trout fishing. And then you bring it over to Florida, throwing it out in this lake here. I'm at 25 foot, 30 foot. You're just bombing this thing out, letting it sink, and just working it mid column. Bass come unglued for this thing. It's unbelievable. So this is definitely my biggest, my most confidence bait of my sinking minnows. And then I want to talk about two of the newer baits, and those are the Batterflies. And now these are still very, very new to me. I just got them not too long ago, but I've already caught fish on both models in just some of my ponds, my typical ponds that I go to. This guy right here, I believe this is the 52. This is a pretty hefty bait. I mean, it is about 8.5 grams, I believe. I mean, it casts really well. It's kind of on the top end of what I would throw on my BFS combo. And then you have this guy right here. This is kind of the sweet spot. This is more in the 6 gram range. The thing that I like about these minnows as opposed to the Ryukis, not that one's better than the other, but they're just different, and why these intrigue me for bass is that these have a much more of like a panfish profile. I mean, to me, this is a brook trout pattern, but to me that looks exactly like a little bluegill, little pumpkin seed. So this, I feel like, fits right in my Florida fishing down here. And then this, I just got a fun color. I'm thinking in the spring when they start getting keyed in on red, I think this is going to be absolutely deadly. But super interesting little baits. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope if this is completely foreign to you, I would really highly encourage you to give it a try. And you don't have to use a BFS combo. If you grab like a light spinning combo, you can easily throw the larger Batterfly. You can probably throw this as well. The only one you're going to have trouble with is the little Ryuki. You're going to definitely want a BFS combo for that. But it's a super fun way to fish. It's something that these bass have not seen. They're not accustomed to. It's not the typical, micro swim bait that everyone throws. It's not even like a little micro jerk bait, which works amazing too. But it's this super fast moving, pretty quiet, super erratic, and you can kind of dance the rod as you do it. It is super versatile. Shallow water, off rocks, deep water, open water, dancing it around, straight cranking it. It is extremely versatile, which is why it is going to be a permanent tool in my arsenal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. Please subscribe. Watch any of my other videos you got there. I appreciate it. Have a great one.